What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the best midfielders in FIFA 23. I have, as you can imagine, changed up the kind of ranking system of this, mainly because in the last one, which I think was the attackers, there was a lot in the S. So we're going to split it up a little bit. We've got S and S1, so S plus, give or take, whatever you want to call it. The S1 is going to be endgame cards that you cannot compete with. There will be cards that are literally, for instance, a Hullet. We know full well there's not many people in that category that are going to beat Hullet. The S category is still absolutely top tier, but we already know there is going to be players that are completely untouchable. They are the best of the best, and then also there is a lot of top end cards that you would 100% want to go for. So we'll go through the list, we'll start off and kind of get rolling with it. Obviously with the S1, we're going to try and keep it for the elite of the elite. Starting off with Zidane. Very, very good indeed. And I do think Zidane naturally has always been incredible. I feel like there's a lot of arguments between the two. And it's quite funny that the first two players we can see are definitely contenders for a top-end S at the very minimum. Zidane 5'5", very all-round sort of game. Defensively has not necessarily been the greatest, but most definitely could still play that centre-mid role no matter what. So for me, I think he has got to be an S1 100% of the time. Again, you could argue with him, but I think 5'5", from the 97 rated, I can't argue with it. Then we have Zambrotta. SBC, absolutely beautiful card. Again, I feel like I could argue an S1 for him. For me, he was absolutely clear. When Shapeshifters came out, he was an absolute baller. He is a very good SBC price. I would 100% recommend trying to get him up there. Obviously, very well rounded and come from a right back, left back sort of position. Purely for the fact that I think we're going to have some absolutely top centre mids. I'm thinking of a top S, but maybe not S1, purely for the fact I know there's one player that is 100% S1, and it isn't Zambrotta at the minute. So we're going to go for S for him at the moment. Very much a top-end one, so always keep that in mind. I was going to put an S, S1 and 2, but we're just complicating it too much there, because we know full well the S and the S1 are the cream of the crop. The S1 normally will be the most expensive, and then obviously as we go down in the list, for instance, Xavi is going to be in that A list. He's kind of now in that, just past it a little bit. It's come from obviously the Trophy Titans. He's got a good upgraded card for a Xavi card, but in terms of all game round, it's just not happening as of yet. Xabi Alonso now as well, very much like kind of Xavi himself. Very good when he came out, and I do think in terms of a DM, still a good shout, but we have got so many cards. So I'm going to stick him in that AS for the moment, and we'll see who else we can link in with him. Witsel as a brand new level up card, obviously an SBC if you wanted to get him. He is a 91 originally. Any level up cards I have chosen to go obviously with their upgraded version, as predominantly if you want to get a card, you're going to go for the highest rated if it is just an objective away. He is a 4-star, 5-star, which is most definitely not a bad shout whatsoever. Good stats all round, obviously coming in with his right foot. CDM or centre mid is looking pretty tasty across the board, to be honest. Feel like as a DM, the problem is I think in terms of what we've got him as lengthy. We can put him lengthy, so you know what, we're going to go in the S. I was thinking that if he's controlled, he might feel a little bit static at times, but as he's got that lengthy, I don't know why he's a little bit taller than Zambrotta for some reason, but he's going to go in the S regardless. Now, Patrick Vieira is a funny one this year, because I feel like in terms of Patrick, he is now an SBC that you can go get done. But in terms of him, I haven't seen him very often, which is just crazy, as Vieira, Hullet, Matthias were all of the fan favourites. This year, I think they have done really well to spread that centre mid. Obviously, with Shapeshifters, unfortunately, we have had a few checks in the game that most definitely are semi-annoying at times, but most definitely will move. But Vieira still keeps himself in at least the top category. We then have Verratti as a 94 team of the season, and it's quite funny just looking at some of the team of the seasons and then going up to the Shapeshifters and level up and just see what literally a couple of weeks difference between a promo does for the rating of a card. I do like Verratti. I think he's got a certain play style that works really well. He is more dribbling and passing orientated with a very good amount of pace, and obviously the defending physical are there, but in terms of an all-round game compared to some of the top, is not going to quite come in that sort of one for me. Veron, very much like Xavi, very good Veron card, coming as a full birthday, but he is now going to definitely drop off that little bit more, and I'm hoping I've got enough room in this A category, as Vermin is going to go straight there as well. Minor league team of the season, unfortunately, is not going to cut it in my opinion. We then have Van Persie, another great card. I must admit, I do prefer his right mid personally, and again, it is all down to your kind of personal preference. Obviously, with the right wing, you've got a 5-star, 4-star, whereas obviously with the cam, you've got a 4-star, 5-star. So you do get the weak foot, and he is obviously left-footed, which is always nice to have both feet in that sort of cam role. You could still play him as a striker, to be honest. I think that still really works. The only thing I do like over the right wings specifically is you get a 5 boost in that composure. That's going to be absolutely massive for the Van Persie. So he will stick into the S category, but he's not going to go up into that S1. And then we have our man Virgil van Dijk, 98 rated level up, great card. And why is he a level up? He is not a level up. I was thinking that card looks so weird. FIFA rosters, you have absolutely screwed me. It is a shapeshifters. I don't know why on earth he's gone into that, but Virgil van Dijk is a level up. Why not? Make him a 99. But we have got the 98 shapeshifter Van Dijk for whatever reason. But in terms of this card, he's still 5.2 mil. An incredible upgrade. Obviously, the team of the year, Virgil centre-back, was the only other version that really kind of warrants anything in this game. But I do think in terms of Virgil, he has got to be up here with that Zidane category. I'd like to tell you about skycoach.gg. They offer many features within the FIFA franchise, from FIFA coins to FIFA Weekend League boosts, from trusted sellers, pro players, and are the best prices on the market currently. They have fast delivery, high quality services, lots of games, and also a cashback program. The more coins you buy, the more eligible you are for cashback options. So if you want to buy FIFA coins at the best price, click the link in the description of this video. It will be active promo code for 10% discount from my subscribers. All you have to use is the code JT11 at the checkout to receive this bonus. On to the video. We then have Valverde as the team of the season. Still absolutely love this card. Probably one of the most anticipated Real Madrid cards we were going to get. We knew from very early on that Valverde had done enough to get himself into the team of the season, from player of the months to informs at right wing. A very, very nice card with some very good overall stats. I feel like now we've seen the likes of an Upamecano, obviously the levels up. It would have been really nice to see like a 97 Valverde with 90 plus everything, because I do think that card has got an absolute place in this game. Obviously, the team of the season, though, is still going to go into that S category, and I'm interested to know how much is he actually coming in at now, because obviously with team of the seasons, they took a massive dip. He's only coming in at 170. That is an incredible price. Obviously, everything has now took a massive dive into the price zone with the team of the season moments upgrade. More than likely, all of the shapeshifters, team of the seasons are coming in low, unless you are looking for your Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, the yada yadas, all the big ones. Upamecano on this hand, though, one of the cards that actually did come out really nicely. One of the first SBCs we got from Shapeshifter, and I do think he definitely put in a shift. He was in everybody's teams to start with. Obviously now has kind of gone a little bit out of people's kind of main teams. I do see him as a super sub every now and then, and mainly when we get a French team, I do kind of see him in there, but realistically he's not quite in that end game for me in terms of a cam. And I do think for me, I've always said with a cam role, it's very hard in this FIFA. I don't see many cam specific positions. Even though he can kind of go into a lamb or ram role, he isn't necessarily a focal point, but he is still a very, very top end card. Very much like the next one in Yaya Toure. Again, I do think in terms of stats, doesn't look that impressive. 84 pace, 86 shooting, 89 dribbling. Nothing really crazy going on there, but most definitely still a phenomenal card. I'm just debating whether I put him S1 or S, because realistically now, I feel like there is cards that trump him. There is one specific SBC that we could have done that I do think in terms of the price difference, you've got 665k for Yaya. I'm pretty sure the card that is in question was about 150k. I'm going to stick for S. I'm going to stick him in S and think we're going to go long term with this, as obviously I don't see Yaya very often now anyway, and before kind of Shapeshifters, even before Team of the Seasons, he was everywhere, so I know a lot of people still have him. We then have Tonali as the 92 centre mid, a great CDM into the game. I do think now more of a standard sort of Team of the Season, so he is unfortunately going to go into the AS for him, but I do think in terms of a cheap centre mid or CDM that you want, he definitely could get that job done. Also, like Towerum, I do think the 89 centre mid is a good card. He's a very well balanced card, and when obviously Community did come out, he definitely had a place. Now I just don't see many 89s in people's teams. Maybe he could kind of stay in the AS. I do think in terms of in-game he's good, but definitely he's on that kind of lower end now. In terms of what we see from teams, the goalkeepers, the just generic icons, shapeshifters, level ups, big boy Team of the Season Reds that come in, is not going to fit in. Then we have Chouameni, the 96 CDM, a very, very top end sort of card here. Obviously the 96 is the upgraded 1.3 million for the 94, so you could obviously, if you had the coins and the willing to take the tax, go and buy the 94, do the upgrade, sell the 94, you've got yourself a 96 for literally a tax bracket, or obviously if he does drop or go up, then you've made a profit or a loss. But in terms of the card himself, a very well-rounded card. Unfortunately though, a 3-star, 5-star, not necessarily the most impressive CDM. I do think all-round game, looking very, very nice, and obviously he's going to be in the kind of top category now, 96 rated. The defensive stats among everything is absolutely top dollar, so he's easily going to put himself into that S1. And we move on to Talisca, a great cam. I do think in terms of a cam, more of a kind of really forward sort of midfielder. I don't think defensive has got any place in Talisca's game. Obviously with a 64 defending, even Zidane himself has got that attacking element, but he's got at least a bit more defending than Talisca. And I do think when he came out was definitely kind of that nostalgic Saudi guy we get. We also get him and Romarinho, both of the Brazilians in Team of the Season Saudi, are phenomenal, but now we are definitely going away from that. Then we have Socrates. I love this card. He is one of them cards that I just think in general has everything. We obviously got him from his cam roll into a centre mid, but he got a massive upgrade across his defending, the physical going up, and I do think for me, he is better than Zambrotta. If you are looking at card specific, I'd say in terms of efficiency for the price, Zambrotta is easily the way to go with obviously an SBC player. You can do him for untradeable value, whereas Socrates, you either had to pack him or obviously get him from coins. But I do think for me, he was better. He gave me that kind of burst straight from the gate, and I really enjoyed playing with him. Sissoko, Team of the Season moments, nothing too crazy going on here with him now. I do think he has definitely lost the hype a little bit this year. We loved the Sissoko last year. I think it was mainly his height, I want to say. He was over 6 foot, I'm pretty sure, which would be 5'2". Yeah, 6'2". I was an inch off. A foot. But in terms of Sissoko, I just think now there's just no real place for him anymore. He definitely gives you that kind of feel of a very good statted card, but in game, I've just not really found him at the level of what I remember him to be. We then have Xavi Simons, a great cam if you're ever looking for one. Now at 105,000 coins, there is some really cheap cards on the market. Obviously, in terms of a cam, I feel like he's got a very good attacking prowess. Could definitely go onto the wing as well if you wanted to. He can obviously change his alternative position there. He could be centre mid, cam, left wing, right wing, and I do think that would be the better position, definitely in this sort of game style now. As obviously everybody's evolved, defenders, midfielders have got better. In terms of playing down the middle, I don't feel like he's going to be as good as what we kind of remember from Community or Community and Eredivisie, but most definitely down the wing, we're looking at a very top end sort of card. Whether I'd go, I think I'd go on the lower side of an S. I don't think I'd go really high on that side, but I do think in terms of what I can remember that we'll have in the AS, I would say he's better than a good portion of them. We then also have Bernardo Silva, a beautiful 95 centre mid, obviously can be more cam as well, but the big thing for him is going to be the dribbling. Very agile on the ball, great responsiveness, good passing, has the pace a little bit more on compared to previous versions. Obviously we did have a 93 foot birthday that wasn't necessarily too far away in rating and also stats, but this card is currently coming in at 370, which is just a very nice overall card as well. And apparently Busquets is going to come out instead. Brilliant. But in terms of Bernardo Silva, we are going to put him in that S category. And like I say, with even the attacking one, even if there is a lot of S category cards at the minute, they are there for a reason. We have got a wide variety of teams, a wide variety of players that everybody could use. I don't think at this point in the game now, I've come up against an identical team for more than like 1 or 2 games at a push. Everybody's got somebody different, and that's what I kind of like, that we've got a good majority of very good cards that can play in instead of each other. And then we have Busquets. I don't know why I was trying to jump the gun. Endavira Busquets, another great CDM card, obviously coming in with a solid price. I don't think he was that expensive. I'm pretty sure we had obviously Jordi Alba as well, which made his deal that little bit better. 229k in this market. The only thing for Busquets for me that really kind of replaced him on the spot was we got the Champions League winner Rodri. I'm sorry, but the difference in price back then, I'm pretty sure he was a little bit more expensive, but Rodri was 1 team or 2 teams that was like 120k, and he was phenomenal. Way, way better than Busquets, in my opinion, and I do think Busquets has had a nice upgrade. I just don't think he's personally on my wavelengths as a top CDM. We then have a Savenir, the 94 crafting objective that you can go and get. Personally for me, very nice card in terms of the objective. I really like the 380 plus upgrade. I definitely thought that was an absolute dub in my opinion with the 5 cards for 380 plus. I think that's a great objective to go and do. Obviously the 94 is good, and I do think he is a nice card, but I was expecting more. Played him in a few games, got a review done on him. I liked him to some extent, but in terms of a cam, there is no real extra bonus for him. He isn't necessarily one that's going to overtake many people's top-end teams. The only thing that I do think that with Savenir is if you're brand new to the game, maybe you've not necessarily got through all of the team of the season, you've not had any good luck in red picks, or obviously just not had any luck in general with shapeshifters. So you could get a nice, kind of very cheap cam with a 5-5, but in terms of kind of really being endgame, I feel like low S category is going to be on the books. I think he's definitely up there in terms of ability, but not necessarily endgame last kind of cam you're going to stick in your team. And we've still got winter wildcard Jadon Sancho. Unfortunately now he's definitely past it. We look at the stat difference between obviously the 90 rated and obviously some of these top end cards. Unfortunately, progression is just a thing. And unfortunately for Sancho, he's going to sit in the A. To be honest, Rui Costa's going to go with him as well for birthday. I feel like icons and heroes could do with one. I say it at everything. One final upgrade. Foot is heroes, foot is icons. Make it happen, EA. I want to see it as the final go. Rodri, on the other hand, incredible. I definitely think there is better CDM centre mids out there now, but when that card came out after obviously the Champions League final, he was phenomenal. Great stride on the ball, the acceleration's perfect, defending and physical's lovely, just a very, very well-rounded CDM, and the fact he came in so cheap, I'm more than happy to really put my recommendations on him. Declan Rice from the community. Unfortunately, like Sancho, we are going to drop him down in there. Not really too much to go on with him. Obviously, we're expecting a big future and hopefully a big transferred card in footies. We know we see a lot of them coming in. We saw the Messi 99 for PSG. We saw Ronaldo's 99 for Man U. Heck, we even saw Varane's 99 for Man U. Deckers could definitely get at least a 96, 97. Even if they wanted to go 98 for him, I think that card would be top tier. We then have Reina. Never been a fan of him personally. I don't think he really does anything for anybody's team. I've still got a vendetta against that Adidas card. We then also have Renato Sanchez as a 94. Beautiful card, and obviously with the first team of level ups, they are going out of objectives in the next 4 days. So make sure if you are trying to get one final one done, get it done before it happens. I've still got Werner and I've still got Sterling to do. Definitely slept on. Level 2 have still got like 10 days, so make sure you are getting them done. Renato, quite an easy one to be honest. He is a straight away into that S+. If you've seen his one to watch, that carried value for so long. Even his moments, to be honest, is still phenomenal. I want to say that is still coming in now at a very good price We got the moments at 302k, not bad at all. The 93 level up is coming in at 4.4 million, which tells you enough. We then have Rabiot, and I must admit, I read the comments in the previous video, don't think I don't, and I must admit I probably did him a little bit dirty. AS is definitely not Rabiot's level. He is 100% in that S. I don't even know why, I must have been having an off day, but Rabiot is definitely an S card. Apologies. We then also have Flashback Pogba. I know he does have technically a better card now in Shapeshifter, but we've still got the 90, as that is technically the midfielder. The Pogba that we've got in a striker is technically a striker. Obviously 97 rated. That card is absolutely clear. 4.1 mil. The Flashback can definitely go into the bin a little bit. I do like in general kind of on the ball mechanics from him. He's always had a very nice agility prowess to him, but most definitely now he is falling behind the waistline for an S card. The 97 is the new Pogba everybody wants. Pirlo, nice and easy one to be honest. Again, very much like Xavi. It's got a good upgrade, and as a Pirlo card, the team of the year is fantastic, but for anything else, he's just not there. And as an Italian team or a flashback, or not a flashback, a past and present Italian or Juve team, he'd work really well. But in terms of an absolute rank 1 foot champs team, is not going in there. Petit, on the other hand, again, not one that I really kind of fancied too much. I think as a centre-back, he does come in quite nice. As a cam, he's got very nice stats throughout. I don't think he's a 5-star, but I could be wrong. I've definitely been proven in the past. He is a 5-star, 3-star. So yeah, he definitely can get into the AS as kind of like them stats carrying him forward. But in terms of S, is just not. Pedri, on the other hand, phenomenal centre mid. This guy is a 5-5. The only thing I think with Pedri personally is that attacking or the shooting and defending could have been upgraded that little bit more. I feel like the well-roundedness of him would have been skyrocketed with that. And if we do manage to get a footies or anything like that with him, we know we're going to get a really high rated, as he's already a 95, which is just absolutely phenomenal. We then have Park Ji-sung. Again, another great card when he came out, but a little bit on the backside now. He is not necessarily going to go in many people's teams. Again, past and present, that's probably about it. Palhinha, another great CDM, obviously an objective, again from, who was it? Savenir, another crafting objective from Team of the Season. Another nice card that you could get, obviously, with Matomo. And I do think AS as a DM's nice. He definitely was an S at one point, but now coming a little bit more on the lower side. Ozil's End of Era. Again, another card that I didn't really utilise too much. We managed to kind of give him a few games, but he then just kind of just went into the back, really. He's a 5-4. He's a good cam, but in terms of the stats, again, pace and shooting could have been that little bit higher. As an end-of-era Ozil, he's had a phenomenal career throughout his Real Madrid stint. Obviously, the start at then Arsenal. Maybe then tailing off a little bit kind of later on in his career, not necessarily proving the kind of end results that we kind of expected. But I do think in general, he is a nice card, just not necessarily a top end card. Now I need your help with JJ, because I don't like him. I've never fancied JJ as a player in the game. He just never works for me. I feel like he was far overrated in my opinion on the game. Again, I could get cooked for it, but everybody has their opinion for different players. But I've just never really got on with him. Let me know down below your opinions on him. He's a 5'4", 91 rated. Obviously got the upgrade, but not come from FIFA rosters. Again, screw me over. I'm going to go with the AS. Let me know where you'd put him. Odegaard up next. Another card that unfortunately didn't get the upgrade he deserves. Maybe we see another one in footies. Obviously Martinelli managed to get some retribution for the 3, 4, 5 players that we got that was sub 93 rated. Unfortunately for Odegaard, he's not really there in my opinion. I can go as high as AS for him, as I do think stat-wise is still nice. Definitely coming down into the A very soon. But in terms of what he deserves, I don't think the 92 really reflects that in my opinion. Musiala, on the other hand, 97 rated cam, absolutely phenomenal. I think he's got to be still at a very good price. I haven't seen him very often in red, which normally is the show that he is there a hell of a lot of the time, but he is most definitely for me a cracking S1 card. Then we have Modric as a 97 centre mid. I do think in terms of Modric, he is very much like how I kind of envision Xavi, Pirlo was when back in the day. and yet he still manages to do a lot more. The passing and dribbling is absolutely maxed out. We've got a very good amount of pace and shooting on him for a very sort of passing and dribbling sort of player. We've seen it with Pirlo, we've seen it with Xavi, Iniesta's very similar, even Verratti. They're not necessarily known for their massive tackles. They obviously do in real life, but FIFA's FIFA. He's not got the biggest build, he's not the biggest strength player, and in terms of pace, he's not beating someone like a Traore down the wing. And yet he still comes in at a 97 and is absolutely magical on the ball. So a very good card. I'd say mid-S if I'm being honest. James Milner, another great card that obviously you could have got from Objective. 92 rated in himself. A nice card, but really I'm not really feeling it, to be fair. I do think in terms of him being an Objective, it's not a bad card for that reason. But if we are looking based on actual stats and what we can kind of play in game, a 4-4, 92 centre mid is not going to come in any higher than an AS in my opinion. And again, some people might like his style better than the others, but that is kind of opinion based, and obviously I have my favourites. And the next one is my top end favourite. Kind of quote me if we're wrong, could have ruined the game obviously with these outfield goalers. I know it's mainly the lengthy meta that's really kind of push them that further. We've got the Czech, we've got the Milinkovic-Savic, there's a Buffon in centre-back, Martinez, Bravo, Lloris. They are all absolutely stunning in teams. And Milinkovic-Savic, alongside Czech, being an SBC, is just one of the most hated things in the game because he is so good. You literally could put him in a midfield and that's endgame totally. Like, there is no question that Savic is not endgame. We do then have the brother of him, unfortunately has the same position and is still one rated lower, which is just absolutely crazy. Unfortunately for his brother as well, I really don't rate him anymore. We used him obviously in the Serie A Cup, did really well in a Serie A sort of battle, but now he's unfortunately just kind of fallen that little bit down in my opinion. Same with Mertens, great minor league, obviously a big name in the Turkish league there, but unfortunately isn't necessarily going to be in that top end for me. We then also have Moreno, another great card that you can come up with, 93 centre mid that's going to come in probably at about 20k at this point, maybe 30 if obviously any price inflation. He is 39,000. Very cheap card you can get, but unfortunately he isn't going to go any higher than that. I must admit the in-game stats are very good, but we have got a very nice selection of centre mids already in the game. Matthias, on the other hand, very much like Vieira and Hullet, you don't see him as often, but I must admit, if you've not got a Hullet, you are seeing a Matthias. He is an absolutely worldly in the middle, and again has that ability. And as well, if you do have a Milinkovic-Savic, you are looking at a top pairing, as both very heavy on that defensive, but also can get forward. And obviously with Matthias, he has always been that well-round king. We then have Martial, another great centre mid that you can go with. Obviously, Lloris is going to be coming up with him, as both of them being the outer position centre mids was a very nice surprise. Coming in at 850 still, I do think a very nice card. Whether I think he's S1, I don't think so. I think he's very close, but I'm going to kind of stick him into that S category, as I do think you can replace him in some aspects. I think he's more a left mid sort of card rather than necessarily down the middle. Marquisio, great centre mid. Unfortunately, definitely could do with the upgrade. I think he is 90 rated, but I could be wrong if he's got the upgrade or not. No, he's still 89. I didn't know if FIFA rosters, I haven't updated it as of yet, but he is now slowly coming down into the AS rather than necessarily in the S where he does belong, and that is why I want Footy's heroes. We then have Makalele, another great Team of the Year icon that you could have got. Again, in terms of Makalele card, phenomenal, but unfortunately is slowly coming off it in terms of what we can kind of expect from a CDM. McAllister. Now, we've used him a handful of times, and I must admit, this card is phenomenal. I don't even have a reason to why he's so good, but he naturally really works really well in the game. And it's kind of the only other example, and I don't think they're quite fit in between the two of them, other than they're both the same rating, is Vitinha. In terms of the card, looks good, stat-wise is very nice. Obviously a 5-star, 4-star, coming in now at 239, which you can still get him done. I must admit, I was very happy with him, and I think in terms of a kind of a Cam Lam Ram, you could really work something with him. And then also, obviously, the likes of Lynx. We have Lumeka, a beautiful cam that we got for literally just playing the game for like 2-3 games, scoring 1 or 2 goals and assisting twice. A very, very nice 94 cam. I absolutely love Lynx. The only difference that I kind of not get with this card is that he's not a premium shapeshifter, which is what Lynx was, obviously being from South Africa. It would have been really nice to get the same, just to whack him in and give him a full run out, as I do think he's got a chance in most people's teams if you haven't necessarily got the top of the top like I suggested. Then we have Figo as a centre mid, starting to come into some of these icons again, with obviously the difference between his striker version and a centre mid. I like this card. He's a 4-5. I do think he's definitely in the topper category than most, but I don't think he's quite in the top of the top. He's more mid to low S, if I'm being honest. Then we also have Lobo, very easy one to be honest, very much like Milinkovic, was an SBC, unfortunately now does come in that little bit lower in my opinion. Lloris on the other hand, very much like Martial. I must admit, I think Lloris, does he miss out on the lengthy? I want to say he no, he doesn't. So lengthy wise, I thought he might have been, but I couldn't remember the height of him being 6'2". I think he just scrapes into that lengthy. Obviously a fantastic centre mid. Don't think he quite has the impact of obviously what Milinkovic-Savic has, but also I think the difference is you obviously got to go buy Lloris or pack him, whereas obviously Milinkovic is an SBC or was an SBC. Llorente, again, phenomenal. Absolutely love this card. He came on the scene like 2-3 years ago, and his stats every time he gets a top end card, you absolutely love him. Lampard on the other hand, very easy to go into the AS. I think a good upgraded card, and definitely him and Gerrard both together look really nice, but he's just missing that one step forward now in my opinion. Cruz on the 97, great CDM, obviously from the season objective. If you wanted to get him done, then you obviously had to pick him over the pack. And again, I think Cruz is phenomenal. A 5-5, he's naturally very good. Obviously, in terms of rating wise, he's at the pinnacle now. We're not going to get a higher rated card. It is a shame that they've given us such a high profile card alongside such a good pack, because I'd have really liked to have him just in the club. If you are a collector, then obviously you'd have maybe had to have taken the hit on the pack and gone with the player himself. Not even mentioning the kind of Eredivisie centre mid, not really worth doing. He is kind of just minor league fodder now at some point, and that is really about it. Kimmich, incredible CDM, no real questions there. He is definitely going into that top category. Then we have Roy Keane. A lot of people in the comments didn't like him, and I must admit, I think yes, as an overall centre mid, he's not the best in the world. Like, he's definitely not going to be that top end sort of box to box centre mid, but as a CDM, he's really not that bad. If you're not used to kind of, well, it depends, because somebody suggested that dribbling with him is like you just physically can't do it. I'm not planning on dribbling with him. I'm on about defensive ability. He is brilliant at it. He's got the aggression. He's got the strength. He's got then the defending and passing to get it away. I'm not after him to kind of beat 5 men and pass the ball on. I like him as a hold-in CDM. Stick to that position. Pass it off to your Martial, to your Milinkovic-Savic, to your Valverdes, and you have an absolute treat with him. So he will still stick in that S category for me. I do get what people are saying, and I'm not saying that he's a top-end S category. I'm saying he's kind of bottom. Maybe we even go S minus. Does that make it too complicated? So you've got kind of a low end, mid and top end of S. That could be something. Let me know if you're still watching, if that sounds like a good idea to kind of split the S category that one more, but it doesn't make it going up, it makes it going down as well. I don't know if that is kind of what AS is meant for, but in terms of, I feel like they are top of the game, but not necessarily at the top where the S1 would suggest. Conte most definitely goes up there though, 96 SBC, again, still phenomenal, all round, very, very top end. Very much like Kaka, I feel like Kaka's close to the S1. I wouldn't necessarily say he is top end there. I would have said if he obviously got his 94 ECL, I think it was the cup name. If he got that as a 95 5-star, 100%. Being 93, a stat or two behind some of the cams, I don't feel like he could go into that category, especially with the cards that we are getting at this point in the game. Joel Linton, another great centre mid, very much like Bruno G. Arguably very similar to Bruno G, but I don't think he's quite in the S category. To be honest, I don't think Bruno G's in the S category, but I do think for an 89, obviously being an objective, he really didn't come out too bad. Havertz, on the other hand, good SBC, obviously cam-wise, helped with the Prem Cup, but I don't think he's necessarily going too much further than a very middle sort of cam in the centre mid S category. We then have Gravadol, beautiful CDM, obviously an SBC during Shapeshifters. Lengthy, if you wanted to make it him, you could go with the anchor or something along them lines to get him into that lengthy, and I think that is a perfect role for him. If you've gone for the lengthy, I do think he is more S. If you keep him controlled, I don't feel like he goes into that S personally. I do think the playstyle, the accelerate type. That is the accelerate type. If you go for that with the lengthy, definitely in there. If he was naturally lengthy, I do think he could have a shot in the S1, but unfortunately, he wasn't, so we can't debate that. Gundogan, on the other hand, great centre mid, very bog standard in terms of the S. Nothing too crazy, but definitely not a bad player in any way. And then the one that everybody was waiting for. I missed him last time, I'm sorry, but Hullet is so easy to rate. You can't go anywhere other than the S1 with him. Hullet's Hullet. He's still an exorbitant amount of money, like I'm pretty sure he's got to be still over the 6.5 million, and he was out literally in about February. We've had endless amount of icon packs, team of the year icon packs as well. We've had Dutch packs, Dutch, Brazil, France packs, and yet he's still absolutely crazy in price. He's phenomenal, absolutely. Grealish as a cam, footballers, good promo. I don't think Grealish is kind of up there now. I'm moving Hullet instead. But in terms of kind of what we expect, I think a footies Grealish is definitely on the way. That just sounds like it's got the ring to it. Grealish would be phenomenal there. Goretzka as a 98. Forgot even these cards were in here at the end. But 98 Goretzka. Again, you're not going to argue with that card. Absolutely phenomenal. The best card in the promo from the second team. Alessandro Gomes, or Gomes. That's a French striker. Gomez. Nice in AS now. I do think in terms of an upgrade is definitely needed from him as a cam. Very agile, very quick on the ball. Lovely to get the shot off, but now needs that next rated up. We then have Steven Gerrard, and I can't put Lampard in AS without putting Gerrard in there as well, as he naturally just follows that same suit personally. Gavi, on the other hand, lovely right back card if you wanted to go for the shapeshifter. In terms of this version now, the future stars, there's only a handful that really kind of make it into that S, and I don't personally think Gavi is one of them, in my opinion. Obviously, again, you could argue between it, but he's not getting in over a lot of these cards. Gattuso, very much like most of the FUT birthday icons now, unless it's Eusebio or anybody of that sort of category, he is definitely more into the fodder category, if anything. Fofana, centre mid, lovely 92, obviously a very well balanced card. You could argue low S, and I think if we was going to put a low S in, he could definitely go there, but the AS is going to be where he stands at the minute. Then we have Enzo Fernandez. This card would have been an easy S1, but a 3-star, 5-star is just not good enough at this point. The stats are absolutely impeccable. The upgrade's nice from the 92 to the 95. You get obviously a 3-star, 4-star to a 3-5. But there had to be, at the minimum, a 4-star, 5-star. You could have just argued straight off the bat. He obviously is the last Enzo we're getting of this game. He could have been a 5-5, but unfortunately didn't bother with that. So he is going to unfortunately go into this S. And he had such capabilities of going into that S1 if he just had that skill move upgrade. We then have João Felix, another great card we got from Shapeshifters. Obviously a cam coming in at 1,000,000 coins. This card did have a 5-5, and I love any upgraded João Felix. From his, what did he get, a footies last year? I'm pretty sure it was a Team of the Season 95. We got the green card. I can't remember what that was called. I think it was like an E-Figs the year before, and also the Summer Heat the year before that. Naturally, Felix always has a very nice upgrade, and I definitely think that card is by no means any less special. I think the highest rated Felix we've actually ever got. So again, another fantastic upgrade for him. Fekir, on the other hand, another card that is nice. Very, very easy upgrade for a level up. He's coming in so cheap so you can get him done. again, there's nothing too crazy from him. I do think the attacking prowess is better on this version compared to the 91, but I don't think he's upgraded enough. I would say low S tier if I'm being honest, and I think mainly that comes as well from being so easy to upgrade. You can literally get him for absolute pence and upgrade him in one game and sell the other card off. Starting to get into some big room here, we've got Essien now as a trophy titan. Good 91 CDM, obviously the defending physical, very, very nice indeed. I still like Essien. I think he's definitely a quality player. I can imagine he is going to now really be in the lower side of an S category, purely for the fact he'll probably join Keen, whereas there is players that are better, but I do think in terms of compared to the top end sort of cards we got here, I would still like them as a CDM, and there may be some overlap, there may be some players that kind of go under, but yeah, you've got to go with what you've played with. I think pretty much everybody I've played here, and I'd say these are kind of the most opinion based, if anything. The centre mid role all depends on how you play. If you play down the wing, you play straight through the middle, you play a kind of passing game, it's all different with what cards would do better for yourself. You could really enjoy the passing game, and Pirlo and Xavi would absolutely rip that up. If you like just running straight through, you're going to look at a Milinkovic-Savic. So it all depends on where you're going with there. Depay, nice and easy one into an S category. Lovely card. Managed to get him very, very early on in the promo as well. But I do think in terms of kind of S1, is not in that for a centre mid. I'd have much preferred a winger if they were going for an S1 sort of Depay. Dembele, on the other hand, beautiful cam. 97 rated Barca French cam. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. They did absolutely right by Barcelona as well, giving him a De Jong as well. Two incredible cards in the midfield. Obviously already having a Pedri as well. You've got yourself some absolutely impeccable players there. Then we have the 99 KDB, as well as the team of the season KDB. So we haven't learned from our mistakes last time. We've still got this 97 KDB, or do we? He is going somewhere. But in terms of KDB, still coming in at an impeccable price for that 99. The only other 99 aside Pele that we can get on this market or get on this game right now. And you've got 4 more days to get him done. He is 7.5 mil for the 98, and then obviously you can sell it for the 99, but it requires you either to have or have a friend that has the 98 KDB. It isn't happening. Cherokee, nice and easy one going into the AS now. Again, it is a shame because most of the future stars, well, I say a lot of the future stars really had a nice kind of glow up from the start. Obviously, Cherokee, like a lot of them, I think Gavi as well, silver cards got into 89s, 90 rated cards, but unfortunately now we are starting to see the back end of them. Casemiro, very similar, nice upgraded card, but I do think a very, very static in compared to where a CDM role could go. Like I said, maybe you could go into the lower sort of S category, but I'm kind of mixing between the two. Çalhanoğlu, got that right. Come on. 96 rated. Honestly, the amount of times I say that name and it just never comes off right straight away. The 96 rated objective though, very, very nice upgrade. Obviously the 94 was an objective, so technically you could get 2 cards for the price of 1 and get yourself a 94 and 96 fodder if you don't want to use them. So I think that's an easy dub. 4-star, 5-star though, very, very well statted. He's an easy S category card, and I do think now we've got obviously a lot of the level up shapeshifters. It's very much more designed for a box-to-box than necessarily a CDM. We then have, obviously, Caicedo, beautiful CDM, very, very easy one for me. Objective, like Cruz, came with an came with the season objective. You could either go for him or a pack during the Prem team of the season, so not a lot of people played with him. Managed to get him on the second account because obviously it's not the main, so we didn't need to do the packs, but it definitely off it now. I'd say lower end compared to some of these centre mids, but it's still a very nice option as a free card at the minute. We also then have Cabela. Suns Out, Guns Out was an absolute tribute for the League on team of the season. I've seen too many of him now though. We don't want him anymore. He is going to go into that AS and start to really kind of finish that second row. Bruno G, Very much like Joel Linton, very nice kind of card once he came out in the Prem, but now I do think we're starting to see a kind of lower end. I would have said a high AS or maybe a low S, but I think he's an AS at the minimum. I wouldn't rate him too much higher than a Joel Linton at this point in terms of what they actually do in game. If you go in for an upgrade from a centre mid, you'd look at anyone like Rabiot, Pedri, or anyone like Valverde, especially with the prices being so cheap. Brownhill, on the other hand, to be honest, very much kind of just bog standard now. Was decent during the championship team of the season, but unfortunately doesn't really have any play anymore. Same with Brandt, Bundesliga team of the season, then we're cooking. The cup was nice, but unfortunately he just does fall by the waistline a little bit more so now. Benesa, on the other hand, I really like this card. In terms of in-game, really enjoyed him. Good defense and prowess. Little bit going forward, but mainly more of that CDM sort of role. There's nothing too crazy that is absolutely mind-blowing. But from the community, a very, very nice card. That being said, I completely forgot about Bellingham. Incredible centre mid. We know what Bellingham's like. He is an absolute goldmine if you could get him in a team of the season. If you got him in the red, then that is the ultimate flex, as he is one of the better centre mids you can get. If I could get him and Milinkovic-Savic, my midfield is literally complete for the rest of the year. Barella, on the other hand, lovely centre mid, very well rounded, nice and easy into that topper S sort of category. Then we also have Bailey, or Bailly, however you want to pronounce it, solid CDM. And this is kind of the difference now between the likes of your Casemiros, your Caicedos, your kind of, any more CDMs in here? Verratti, Tonale, very good pace, very good dribbling, very good passing, and defending and physical at 95 and 94. It's impeccable to see some of these shapeshifters just a week or two on from obviously the team of the season. Andre can get in the bin. And then, like I said, there is obviously lower end shapeshifters as well. Alvarez, very nice upgrade, but it doesn't hit the same, unfortunately. I feel like he is just a bog standard cam, and that is why he's so cheap. If he got a level up, then maybe we could go S, but no, it's not happening. Almada, great cam. This is kind of the difference now between a top end cam and a kind of fodder cam, if anything. There's got to be in every promo, but I think Almada really holds his spot. It's very much like a what's his name, Pedro Goncalves. Very, very good minor league in the topper sort of category. Maybe just a kind of, a bench player, if anything, a super sub, but still does the business. Akpom, like Brownhill, I don't know what happened to them. We went back to them as, I think we got Brownhill from the championship pack, but obviously Akpom was kind of someone I bought and had to go with Pedro. They just really don't play anything anymore. And then finally we have the final couple. Adeyemi, lovely centre mid. Probably more of a lower centre mid S category, if I'm being honest. Nothing too crazy from him. I kind of would flex between the two, but I do think as a newer card, you've got him quite cheap, and he would come in and do somewhat the business. We managed to get him, I think he was the mini release, I want to say. We managed to get him in a player pick, which was always nice, but I didn't really put him in the team too much. He kind of just flexed there a little bit. When he first came out, it was kind of this fresh new idea. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of the shapeshifters and also the level ups. They kind of do go over him a little bit more. And one card that was unfortunately so annoying that he didn't have that 5-star was Acuna. He could have been an absolute dream SBC. Him and Milinkovic-Savic would have ran that SBC midfield, but he's only got the 4-star, 5-star. Why they didn't give him the 5-5, it just takes that next level, but he is still very good as an SBC, but not quite what I remember. And then finally, Zola comes in, nice and easy S, very good SBC as well, but unfortunately wouldn't hit that S1 category. So there is the list. Let me know down below what you think, and if you are kind of watching still, do you reckon an S1 or S plus, S and S minus would have done better, and maybe having that kind of S category split a little bit? It would mean that maybe some of the higher rated ASs and lower rated S's could mix into that category. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.